Imagine being so cooked that your life bar is literally the viewer's attention span, just like me for this video. Don't click off just yet. Give me 10 seconds. In this world, boredom is lethal. 10 seconds is all it takes. Welcome to Mullet MadJack, the game that feeds you dopamine. Like literally, the main premise of the game is that your bloodstream is fueled by the love of the audience. You have 10 seconds to kill your enemies and clear each floor as a form of entertainment. If you bore the audience or fail to kill enemies quickly, you will die.
10 seconds! Destroy these damn robots!
Picture this. You're flying through a stage at full speed. You're doing everything right. You're moving fast, killing everything that moves. And then suddenly, you can't find a single enemy. And then your heart, in-game, or probably in real life, depending on how far up the floor you were, starts beating. You see the timer on your screen. 3, 2, 1. Now, like I said before, your rage is 100% dependent on how far up the floor you were. Because if you're at the boss floor, you're gonna have to start back at the previous 9 floors, and that's basically wasting the 10 minutes it took you to climb up there.
The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today!
Think of it like this. You wake up to start your 9 AM to 9 AM job, which is League of Legends. You start the day at Gold 1, trying to grind to Platinum, and you play the entire 24 hours just to end the day at Gold 2. But unlike League of Legends, in this game I can't blame my teammates. What I can do is reduce the difficulty, in secret of course, but I digress. Mullet MadJack doesn't punish you for playing badly, it punishes you for being boring. Because in this game, if you stop moving, if you stop killing, if you stop being entertaining, you die. There's no idle time, no cover like Call of Duty, no let me reload and think. Once that door opens, you're unleashed. See, the core mechanic here isn't the gunplay, it's the timer. A timer that doesn't care if you're stressed. A timer that doesn't care if you're lost. A timer that doesn't care if you're having fun. Just like life sometimes. And yeah, on the surface it looks like I'm just randomly dashing around. Which to be fair, 90% of the times I am. But the longer you play, the more strategy creeps in. You stop shooting certain enemies. You start dashing into ninjas because they deflect bullets. You shoot mines from a distance so they explode before you get too close. You kick enemies into vents, into electricity, into environmental hazards. There's always something happening on the screen, and that's what I like about the game.
The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary.
You're either sliding down ramps, avoiding acid, opening doors with chains, dodging lava pits, or running up billboards that launch you forward. The game never lets your brain cool down, and that's the point. The first time I truly felt it was when I realized the timer literally exists to kill you for being idle. Not for being bad, not for missing shots, for being boring. And suddenly, the game's story made sense. You're not just a shooter, you're a performer for a company called Peace Corp, an organization that slowly domesticated humanity through entertainment, addicting people to dopamine. You're being live streamed to an audience and your job is to entertain them. And that's where the dopamine comes in. Every kill gives you something, every second matters, every room is feedback, fast movement, gruesome knockouts, instant rewards. There's no wait for it, there's no delayed gratification. This game will have your hands clicking faster than Faker at Worlds, and that's the addiction loop. Because every boss you beat means one more save point, one step closer to the end of the game. And that fear, that stress, that heartbeat pulsing when both you and the boss are one hit away from death, that's what gives you dopamine. Not comfort, not relaxation. It's the fear of knowing that if you die, you have to start those previous 9 floors all over again. That's why the chaos feels good. Because when everything clicks, when you're flying through rooms in seconds, choosing the right augments, dodging bullets, getting stylish kills, you feel unstoppable. And when you're not, you feel helpless. And that contrast is addictive. Here's the thing though, this game isn't just about speed. It's about attention. Mullet MadJack is literally the definition of the modern attention span. If you don't hook someone in 10 seconds, you lose them. The game knows that. Think about it. I hooked you in the first few seconds with chaotic gameplay, because the core idea of Mullet MadJack is simple. Don't bore your audience. That's the rules. And in the rest of this video, I want to break down exactly how that philosophy shows up in the game's design, why frustration keeps you playing, and why this kind of gameplay feels perfectly engineered for the way we consume content today. Here's where Mullet MadJack stops being fun in the traditional sense and starts being evil, because at some point the game decides you've had enough dopamine and now it wants payment. As you progress, the game introduces more and more mechanics, and it honestly does an excellent job of keeping you entertained. At some point, it adds pits to the stages, basically pitfall traps you have to dash across or glide over using billboards to traverse the gap. And if you drop into them, it slows you down. And if you're bad like me, you're not going to drop into them once or twice. You're going to drop every single respawn. Let me just put this out there. This is an extremely fast-paced retro boomer shooter, and I am mad ass at this game.
Waste of a man!
So if you're trash like me, every time you run through these stages, there's this added pressure. Don't fall in, don't throw the run, because if you fall, you die, and you start over. Be honest, have you ever rage quit a game because you knew you just lost 10 minutes of progress? Answer me in the comments and tell me what game it was. Because now every run has this extra rule, don't mess up, and that's the real pain of Mullet MadJack. It's not dying, it's losing progress. Because when you die, you're not losing 10 seconds, you're losing 8 to 10 minutes of effort, minutes where your hands were locked in, minutes where you're flying through stages, minutes where you felt like a badass cyberpunk shooter, and then suddenly,
The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today!
back to the start again. And every time that happens, your brain does this little calculation. Did I just waste my time? Because once your brain starts asking that question, dopamine doesn't hit the same anymore. You stop enjoying the flow you're on, because there's nothing new there. No new mechanic, no new hazard, no surprises. So what do? You speedrun it. You start playing the game like, yeah, I've seen this episode already. Skip. Not because you're bored of the game, but because you're chasing the next hit. You want something new. You want a new experience, like a drug addict, just wanting to beat the stage and reach the next section of the game. Because now every death doesn't feel like learning. It feels like time theft. Every time you die, you think,
Shit, here we go again.
there's a reason this game is popular. It overstimulates you just enough to make you feel like a god, and then immediately humbles you. Now in this world, the power structure is run by AI robots called robo-billionaires, and once you reach stage 10, one of them steps in as the floor boss, usually the toughest enemy you face. And this is where you start experimenting, different augments, different weapons, different approaches, because these fights hit hard, stay aggressive, and give you absolutely zero breathing room. That's when you realize you can't brute force it anymore. The game gives you an arsenal for a reason. Revolver, shotgun, SMG, rifle, railgun, plasma rifle, or you can even go melee, katanas with fire and ice variants. Different fire rates, different damage, different strategies. And the crazy part is, beyond the gameplay mechanics and bosses, the story is actually pretty decent. You play as a male character named Jack, now hired by Peace Corp, and they send him to rescue an influencer kidnapped by Mr. Bullet. Yes, he's literally a bullet. It's ridiculous, but it works. It's a simple story that doesn't take away from the main aspect of the game, which is the fast-paced shooter gameplay and the mechanics it offers. And me personally, I wanted to see what else the game had to offer. More augments, more challenges, weapons upgraded to level 3, infinite bullets, stocked reload damage. Now let's talk about the difficulty switch, because I actually think Mullet MadJack handles this really well. It lets you enjoy the game at your own pace and get accustomed to the stages and bosses, because not everyone can handle a fast-paced environment like this. For example, Me personally, I had to change the difficulty after replaying some boss fights. And yeah, I do feel guilty because lowering the difficulty slows the game down. It gives less stimulation, less pressure, less chaos. It almost feels like you're not playing the game which it was meant to be played, which the game literally tells you when you change it. But at the same time, I wasn't trying to be stuck on one stage all day. And honestly, the gameplay still looked cool, even on lower difficulties. And don't get it twisted, you can still die depending on how far up the floors you were. Later you can crank it back up to normal when you please. Here's the thing though, the frustration from constantly dying doesn't just annoy you, it trains you, because once you understand the stage, you want flashier kills, you want to move faster again, you want to do better and improve at a higher difficulty, so you can get a bigger dopamine rush. What's funny is before each floor the game even gives you a small tutorial showing what challenges you can expect, so you have to adapt. Later on, the more you play, it becomes muscle memory. Shooting some enemies are pointless, kicking them into the environment is faster. You stop playing like it's a normal shooter and start playing like it's a speed puzzle. During my gameplay I had a favorite weapon, unlimited bullets on the upgraded level 3 revolver. That was a game changer. Suddenly I'm running through stages without reloading, killing everything in seconds. That's when the flow state hits. That's when frustration turns into mastery. And after dying a few times, you lock in. You stop panicking. You stop wasting movements. The game forces you to get better, or it sends you back, again.
Mullet time!
So the frustration loop is simple. You die, you restart, you lose progress, you get mad, and then you hit restart anyway. Every death teaches you something, and eventually, you stop dying, you start flying, tearing through enemies. That's the addiction, because the game doesn't reward patience, it rewards adaptation, and that's why, even when the frustration gets to you, you come back, because every death makes you better, and the next run might be the one. What's interesting about Mullet MadJack is that for me, it never crossed into this game has taken over my life. It's not grindy. Yeah, you have to practice if you want a higher difficulty, but the story and normal gameplay is totally manageable. It wasn't that serious. I wasn't thinking about bills at work. I wasn't dreaming about runs. I wasn't plotting strategies in the shower. But when I was playing, I was fully there. Late night sessions, headphones on. And once the run started, the game made one thing very clear. You're not multitasking. You're not checking your phone. You're not pausing because you can't. The game doesn't allow it. My longest session was about 3 hours, not because I lost track of time, but because I planned for it. This wasn't a let me check something real quick type of game. This was a sit down, lock in, wrist ready type of game. And yeah, by the end of that session my wrists were screwed, my eyes were watery, but during the run, I was fully invested. The biggest emotional payoff didn't come from a flashy kill or a perfect run. It came at the end, beating the game, watching the end credits, driving in the car with the princess, shooting down enemies one last time, and finally killing the main villain, Mr. Bullet. That moment wasn't hype, it was relief. Relief knowing the stage was complete, the main story was over and everything left was optional. Speedruns, hardcore modes, extra challenges. I didn't feel rushed anymore, I felt done. And honestly, Mr. Bullet was the boss that stuck with me the most. Not mechanically, but narratively. Because when you reach the sniper scene, the game finally lays its cards on the table. Mr. Bullet didn't kidnap the influencer for money. He wanted her virgin blood. No exaggeration, that's literally the plot. Yes, I'm not making this up.
To prove anything, he needed a virgin's blood. And, well, I'm not a virgin.
The ritual wasn't random. He believed her virgin blood could prove whether the robo-billionaires were truly the highest form of life. If there wasn't anything above them, burn it all down. Destroy Peace Corp, destroy the system, or let the world burn. That's when the story hit, and then of course, I died, and got resurrected. Because in this world, death is just another reset. Jack is a character? Let's be real, he's a menace. pure gigachad energy. The world is absurd, the stakes are insane, and he doesn't stop to question any of it. He just speedrun reality. And the best part? He's doing all this for sneakers. My man just wants a fresh pair of Consume brand kicks. And Peace Corp? They aren't just the company behind the missions. They're actually the real antagonists of the story. They've been around for over 200 years, and they didn't conquer humanity with armies. They did it with entertainment. They engineered a world built on short-term stimulation. They helped create the modern work cycle, wage, slavery, stripping people of meaning, leaving them desperate for escape. And then they fixed the problem they created by selling the only thing that still feels like meaning, the entertainment they controlled. Even the rise of robo-billionaires wasn't the end of Peace Corp's power. It became another opportunity. They shaped the narrative and kept control through a manufactured resistance designed to serve their interest. Throughout the game, they're always watching until you get too close to killing a robo-billionaire. As I played longer, reaching higher stages and experimenting with different builds, the game started feeling different. I was moving faster, cleaner, more efficient. Stages that used to take time, I was flying through them. Dodges were instinctive, kills were stylish. At my best, I felt like an absolute gaming god, the kind of gameplay where everything syncs, movement feels intentional, and the room clears in seconds. That's the flow state, that's the reward. And yeah, sometimes I died on easy mode, which really made me stop and think. Bro, am I really this shit? Instead of quitting, I adjusted. I lowered the difficulty when I needed to learn the rooms. Then I raised it again once I was comfortable, when I wanted flashier kills and better scores, because the goal wasn't ego. This game doesn't relax you, it doesn't comfort you, it stimulates you. Constant movement, no pause, no downtime. By the end of a session, my wrists hurt, my body was tired, but mentally, I felt like the main character. And honestly, that's why I stayed. Not because it consumed my life, but because when I chose to engage with it, it demanded everything and gave that stimulation right back. And that's the moment everything clicks, not just mechanically, not just emotionally, but conceptually. Because once you hit that flow state, you stop feeling like you're playing a game, you start feeling like you're performing. Every action is faster, every mistake is punished, every second matters, and suddenly you realize this game isn't testing your skills, it's testing your attention. Because Mullet MadJack doesn't reward patience, it rewards constant engagement. The moment you slow down, the moment you hesitate, the moment you stop being interesting, you die. Because in this world, attention isn't optional, it's survival. And the scariest part? That rule doesn't stop when you stop playing.
Courage or death, just another product to be consumed. A few seconds of entertainment in a constant stream of bullshit. If you live or die, it doesn't matter. And what are you doing this for again? A stupid pair of shoes?
Think about how we consume content today. Shorter videos, faster edits, no downtime. If something doesn't hook you in the first few seconds, you scroll away. If it doesn't stop escalating, you leave. And Mullet MadJack understands that perfectly, not metaphorically, literally. The 10-second timer isn't just a countdown, it's an algorithm. It's watch time, retention, engagement turned into a gun pointed at your head. And that's where the game stops being just a shooter and starts feeling like a mirror. Because Mullet MadJack isn't asking, are you good enough? It's asking, are you entertaining enough? And once you see that, you realize this game isn't just built around speed, built around the exact way we consume content today. And that's what we need to talk about next. Because the truth is, gamers today aren't patient the way they used to be. Because time is expensive now. Games come with price tags, there's more competition than ever, and most people don't have unlimited hours to wait for it to get good. So yeah, players might tolerate a slow start if the promise is clear, if the trailer sells it, if the payoff feels earned, but if a game stays slow for too long, it gets dropped. If there's no action or movement in a game within the first 5 minutes, it gets uninstalled. Not because it's bad, but because there are 100 other games waiting. And that's exactly why Mullet MadJack works. The moment the prologue ends, the game doesn't ask for patience. It throws you straight into chaos. No warm-up, no give it 10 minutes, no slow tutorial. It respects your time, and that design choice lines up perfectly with today's content, because this game feels less like a traditional shooter and more like a short-form media in playable form. Think about how people scroll now. Shorts, TikToks, Reels, AMVs. Instead of sitting through long setups, people doom scroll for instant hits. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't scroll through TikTok Reels during my 1 hour lunch break at work. Like hell, that's the only thing that keeps me sane after working long hours. Dopamine bursts are designed to distract, entertain, and help you escape reality for a few seconds. That's what Mullet MadJack does mechanically. Constant stimulation, immediate feedback, no downtime, just like scrolling. Except in this game, if you stop, you don't just get bored, you die. And yes, slow burn genre games still exist. They absolutely have an audience. But Mullet MadJack isn't trying to be that. It knows what it is. Even its intro is skippable, and so short that skipping it barely matters. That's intentional. The game understands that attention spans are shrinking, and time can't be wasted lightly. The faster you get to the point, the better. The 10-second timer makes this painfully obvious. That timer isn't just a mechanic, it's retention. The faster and more stylish you kill enemies, the longer the audience stays with you. Slow gameplay, sloppy execution, you lose time, you lose viewers, you lose your life. That's modern entertainment. Peace Corp is exaggerated, but not unrealistic. If you're loved by the audience, you perform well, so you get resurrected. More visibility, more chances, more runs. Fail to entertain, you get cut. And the wild part is, we don't even question it. Modern entertainment is built around dopamine, not meaning first, but stimulation. Mullet MadJack never lets dopamine drop unless you die.
Die already?
You're going down.
Let me give you a hand, handsome!
It's constant pressure, and when the stimulation stops, you feel it immediately. In the game, that's death. In real life, that's boredom. And boredom today feels dangerous. Boredom often feels like you're not accomplishing anything. That's why people scroll. As a creator, that theme hits differently, because the moment a video starts, creators are thrown into chaos too. If it underperforms, it feels like failing a run. Attention becomes currency, time becomes money, and when attention is survival, the audience technically wins, but only because they're being fed exactly what keeps them watching. So what is Mullet MadJack really saying? Not that the system is evil, not that it's good either, it's just showing how it works. And honestly, that felt validating, because the game doesn't shame you for wanting stimulation. It just says, this is the world you're in. The real question isn't whether this is good or bad, it's this. Do you still have the time and patience for slow entertainment? Or do you want instant gratification now? And has your view of entertainment changed over the years? So when you zoom out, Mullet MadJack isn't just a fast shooter, it's a game built around one brutal idea. Boredom equals death. It hooks you with chaos, punishes you for slowing down, and trains you through frustration until you finally hit that flow state where you feel unstoppable. But under all the 90s animation gameplay and violence, it also quietly makes a point about us. How we chase stimulation, how attention became currency, and how entertainment stopped being optional and started feeling like survival. So now I want to hear from you. Has your attention span changed over the years? Yes or no? And what do you think caused it? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe, because I've got more video essays like this coming, and trust me, the next one is even crazier.
Shh. Elena, it's okay. You're safe.
Am I? Really?